Today's episode is sponsored by our two grading partners, EGS Expert Grading Servers. Now, new slabs to go along with their custom labels, and PGX Grading Services, two exceptionally great companies shipping nationwide. Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Codename New to Vero 2. Hi, I'm your presenter, Shabu Are You. Now, this episode I wanted to talk about something really important for the Gen X collector, someone who grew up in the 80s and early 90s that are finding their way back into the hobby that they love so much. Now, with the recent Werewolf by Night Disney Plus special, it kind of awoke a few things. That is, looking at genres or titles that you didn't grow up reading and following. And in my case, even though I'm a huge Ghost Rider fan, and my regulars know that I am nuts for Ghost Rider, but the truth is, I never really got into ManThing, Werewolf by Night, Tomb of Dracula. And those titles, I wanted to take this opportunity to explore more, to give them their fair share. Not because they're trending or they're the thing to do, but I know that so many of the iconic writers, creators, illustrators that I grew up loving and enjoying also worked on those titles as well. So I get to appreciate their writing and their artwork while using that as a gateway into these things I didn't explore as a child. And boy, am I having a lot of fun. Overall, that's basically what collecting in your late 30s, 40s, 50s is kind of about. It's doing things, following things that are kind of out of your wheelhouse or things that you're accustomed to. And that's where the enjoyment and fun really come into comic book collecting, because Lord knows we don't do this for monetary reasons. And like I've said in many episodes, a lot of us have been in the workforce for a long time. We have a 401k, we have an IRA, we have stuff for retirement. Unlike our younger contemporaries that are buying and flipping books, and we're really putting stock into the book itself and the overall picture of the storylines. That's what makes collecting at this stage in life really interesting. And I've said it also with these new young Avengers. The joy is learning about these new characters, like Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan, like Kate Bishop, like Speed and Wiccan, like all these characters, Miles Morales. All these characters are kind of the modern day new characters that today's collectors will enjoy down the road and be going after when they're our age. So it's kind of cool to get a jump start and kind of learn about these characters now. So that's what this episode is about, really. So we're going to look at a few books, graded books. Some of them are repeats, but I think it's going to be fun. So here we go. So we're going to start off with some of the Young Avengers characters that I went and got graded. Then we're going to move on to the horror. So stick around for that. But the first book, since Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever, is coming a week from now, why not start with this wonderful offering? This is the first appearance of Siri on the assuming the Black Panther mantle. Ooh, that's a tongue twister. But this is a wonderful cover. Now, this is just her first cover appearance. Later on, I think in issue 5 of this series, she starts wearing the Black Panther uniform and assuming that mantle. But this is a variant cover for issue 1 of that series with Siri as the Black Panther. This is a beautiful wraparound cover. done by Ken Lashley. And again, this thing is absolutely smoking hot. Now, the only bad thing about this entire run and comics in general is the paper quality. And what was this, 2009? So in the 2000s, Marvel, for some reason, switched to this cheap ass paper. So getting 9.8s is basically very difficult. For this to get a 9.4 is definitely a win. And again, this book is just absolutely art candy. And with the wraparound cover with T'Challa, the Black Panther in the background, this is one of those things that is just, I would be hard pressed to part with this just because it's that damn beautiful. And it goes with a lot of the books in my collection. So, Siri as one of the new Avengers and going to be appearing in about a week in Black Panther 2. Okay, so the last book I'm going to feature for this Young Avengers type of category is going to be Young Avengers #1. Now, this issue is actually a little bit different. Yes, they had a first print regular, but this is actually the Toy Biz reprint of that issue. I think that this is actually a better deal and actually a little bit more difficult to find than the regular direct market edition, the regular comic shop. And also, if you look at the number here, there's a reason why, because it got a 6.5. This came along with toys, the old Toy Biz lines from the 90s and early 2000s. So I wasn't expecting a high grade, and actually you could tell by the tick marks that that's what really took this book down a notch. But still, it is the first appearance of Kate Bishop. It is still has a lot of key firsts for this issue, and it's worth having because there is definitely a push for the MCU to create a Young Avengers team or Team B. So younger fans, I mean, that's what it is, right? That's simple marketing business 101. You want to attract the new younger consumers because they're going to be the adult consumers in a few years. So that's the best approach to have with this. And I think that this book came out beautiful. I mean, I know it got a 6.5, which sucks, but it presents really well. PGX did a fantastic job with this book, and I like the labeling. It says reprints Young Avengers #1 from 405 and includes with Marvel Legends Young Avengers action figure gift set. So what's interesting is the issue came out for 2005, April 2005, and this book came out November of the same year. How often do you see I know there's second prints, but a reprint of that? So it doesn't say that it's a second print. It says it's a reprint of that issue. So that's what makes this book a little bit different and a little bit special, in my opinion. But definitely Young Avengers #1. All right, so this is probably the portion that you guys been waiting for, and we're talking horror. And Halloween is gone, but still, the ghouls and the ghosts are still with us. Now, a lot of my regulars who follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and here on the channel have known my love for Ghost Rider. And while Ghost Rider Marvel Spotlight #5 is out of the picture, I've been telling viewers and friends that the actual good value in the book to target is Marvel Spotlight #6, the second appearance of Ghost Rider, and it just so happens it retells his origin as well. It's a double bang bang, and it often gets overlooked. Now you're probably thinking, hey, I showcased this book already, but that was a 4.5 really beat up copy. So, I upgraded this by half a point, but still, I think this one looks a little bit better than that one. And I sold that for probably close to $400. So that in itself paid for a lot of these books being graded by our quote unquote sponsors, who, let's face it, they offer me a huge discount. But at the same time, I still pay like you guys do. So I want to make that clear that I'm not totally, that I also pay as well. So I'm not just pushing shit on you. Like, I do have to pay for it. But again, this book came out beautiful. It is one of my holy keys in my personal collection because I love Ghost Rider. And then, of course, with that, there's other Ghost Rider books that are being graded, but we also have the first appearance of the Midnight Suns and Ghost Rider issue number 28, which has been shooting up on the top 10 trending lists, like up and down for the past 2 years. I've been seeing this book at least at some point in a 6-month span. So this book will definitely pop up. We know that there's a game called the Midnight Suns that is coming out or has come out. I don't know much about modern gaming. And speaking of which, we have the Dreamcast version of Mortal Kombat. We're going to get back to doing the late night series where I feature a retro game and we play it like we did back in the 80s and 90s, hooked up to CRT set and just sitting there like we did when we were kids talking about the game in question. Now, really quickly, when we do that, this game is probably one of the biggest disappointments in the world. When you get Dreamcast graphics with Mortal Kombat, you're expecting something, but what you end up getting is something totally disappointing. So stay tuned for that. So anyway, going back to this was in a poly bag. So for it to come out at a 9.4 in a poly bag, I think is a big win-win. And people are getting their Ghost Rider keys, but they're kind of focusing on all the top ones, like Marvel Spotlight 5, Ghost Rider number 1, or Ghost Rider number 2. But these other B keys are actually really, really, that's where a lot of the good speculations, the fun and the meat are. And also to show you, now everybody in the 90s remembers this book, the first appearance of the new Ghost Rider, Danny Ketch. And, I'm a Johnny Blaze guy, but Danny Ketch was actually a pretty damn good Ghost Rider in his own right. I loved his bike, but this comic book, along with the X-Men one, the Spider-Man number 1, they just resonate with the 90s. And this book, too, has been climbing through the charts. I saw a newsstand version of this on Facebook Marketplace, and I've been kicking myself that I didn't pick it up. But the direct edition, it would not have gotten a 9. I know that. It probably would have gotten like an 8, to be honest with you. But still, an 8 newsstand of this book would have been, that would have been really nice. But I love this book, so I wanted to show that real quick. Now, the next book, I don't know if you classify as horror, but maybe horror with the tongue in cheek, actually, or two cheeks, I guess. But I'm talking about, and my regulars know about this because as much as I'm a fan of G.I. Joe, they know I'm a fan of this next character, and that is Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, a very underrated key issue. This is her first appearance in DC. Was it DC? Elvira's House of Mystery. And I think that it's bonkers that this book is not appearing on any top trending book or anything like that, because Elvira just celebrated her 40th year. She's an institution, and she's basically, without saying it so much, she's in her upper 70s now, so it must be difficult to fit into her uniform at this stage. So we're approaching the end of Elvira as Cassandra Peterson is concerned. Now, the interesting is actually I was going to do an episode during Halloween, but with my illness, I've kind of didn't get a chance to do that. But I wanted to do an Elvira episode. And going back to the first issue, this was kind of cool. It has a photo of her, black and white photo, on the back of it. So this is definitely a key you should target and put aside just because of the institution. Now, the book in Elvira that I think is often overlooked, but is probably one of the most insanely cool books because it mashes two things that don't belong together, is actually the second issue of that, of House of Mystery issue number 2. You have Elvira sitting with the samurai sword. So what the hell, how, and why? Now, I'm going to make it clear, the stories in here are absolute shit. They're terrible. They're really bad. And maybe that's why they're not getting the attention and love that they do. But this cover art, is absolutely phenomenal. It's beautiful. And it's one of those things that you just are captivated by it because it's two things that should not go together that are together. And that's what makes this compelling. So Elvira House of Mystery, issue number 2, issue number 1. And we all know that I recently did the EGX unboxing, and I collect the photo variants of her Dynamite series. She's been through Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, Shape of Elvira, Elvira meets Vincent Price, Elvira in Horrorland. So all the photo variants I've tried to get graded and encased just because it's kind of, they're cool covers, so I definitely want to do that. And also, I think I mentioned this before, but PGX, this is a prototype of of grading magazines. This is not a finished product whatsoever, but it's something that the PGX team did for me for an Elvira on the Femme Fatales. You guys remember going to Tower Records at midnight and looking through the magazine racks? Well, you'll probably find this magazine there, and it's an iconic photo, but still, the point is that magazines are also starting to come up and become in demand. So it'd be advantageous for these smaller grading companies like PGX and EGS to actually explore grading magazines, because I think the first, if I'm not mistaken, the first Sports Illustrated of Wayne Gretzky was fetched like, I think, $3,500 for a magazine. So that's pretty cool. All right, so what triggered all this whole spiel? Like I said, it was Werewolf by Night and that special presentation, and popped in characters such as ManThing. And so this is what I picked up. The first mention of ManThing on a title, and it's Adventures Interfere with the ManThing. So this is the first time ManThing's name appears on a title of a cover. So that's why I targeted this book. This is probably going to be let's be honest, like a 6, but still, a first of something is better than none. So I definitely wanted big shout out to Peter Parker Comics on Instagram. And I'm showing you some pictures of the Draculas that I picked up that I showcased on Instagram. But we got issue number 3, issue number 11, and issue number 14, as well as the giant-sized chillers featuring the first appearance of Lilith, which ties back in to the Midnight Suns and what potentially could be future in that genre of horror MCU. So Lilith may be a factor into all of that. So those are the books I targeted, and I read online, the online version of it. And I'm becoming a big fan. I don't know why I overlooked these books as a kid, but that's what it's all about. And the last book is going to be Dracula issue number 4. So I picked up issue 3 and 4, as well as, like I mentioned, 11 and 14. So that's a nice, and this is the Bride of Dracula. So again, these Neil Adams goodness, and I cannot believe I overlooked these. But that also segue into Devil Dinosaur, and Moon Boy, which is now Moon Girl. They retconned that, but this is the Devil Dinosaur's first appearance. There is an animated series that's going to be featured utilizing this character. Again, all for the young kids, all of this stuff. So why not speculate and pick up those books? People may be overlooking this, but again, this is Jack Kirby goodness, the king. I mean, you have to pick this up. It is one of those things where you look at it and you say, yes, this is Jack Kirby. This is definitely a PC book. And of course, you guys know that Red Sonja is coming to Amazon. So this is her first solo appearance, her first solo title besides, the Conan thing 25. She was her first appearance, but this is another good book to pick up now before the Red Sonja hype picks up. Anyway, that's today's quick video, and I hope it opens your minds to explore titles that you didn't grow up with and that wasn't in your wheelhouse. Sure, if you were a big Batman, Spider-Man, X-Men fan growing up, now at this stage in life, it's a good opportunity to look at those titles that maybe you saw and just flipped through and not without giving a second look. And that's what makes comic collecting so rewarding at this stage in life. Anyway, this is Shabu Are You. Thanks for watching.